Welcome to NEXTGames Ambuscade series, September 2025 against many vermin. Now this is a more challenging month than most for lesser geared players, with wins taking in the 5 to 7 minute range, but well geared players can normally manage quick wins in the 1 to 3 minute range. Now the strategy you use to take this one on will vary widely depending on your gearing level, so let's go over what's involved this month so you can determine which strategy you want to use. First, key item acquisition. Now this month, you need 1 vermin kill for your first run of the day, and 3 experience yielding vermin kills for multiple runs in that same day. Now I like to home point warp to Cizek Battlegrounds as you just saw me do before, but you can also home point warp to the Bohida Tree or Mount Zalm for your vermin kills. Now onto the run itself, which this month starts off against a single antlion called Fibrous. Now he's a warrior and has access to many abilities, including Mandibular Bite, which is a single target damage and isn't much of a risk to you, Sandpit, which is a single target damage ability and inflicts bind and ignores your shadows, Sandblast, which is an AoE ability that inflicts blind and ignores your shadows, Gravity Pull, which is an AoE ability that will pull everyone in range and inflict gravity, Corrosive Spray, which is a conal ability that will inflict defense and magic defense down, and lastly, Quake Blast, which is an AoE ability that does damage and can remove all of your equipment. Now Fibrous' defense will be very high at the beginning of the fight, and at 90% health he will spawn a buzzing fly and 2 antlion whelps. When this happens, his defense will go down a bit. Now the adds have very little hit points and can normally be killed with a single weapon skill. The whelp will use Pit Ambush and Sandpit, but pose little risk to the group. Now the fly can use Curse Spear, which isn't of much risk, but can also use Swarm Song, which is a potent AoE silence that can definitely give you some trouble if they land on your back line. Due to this, I recommend you taking out those flies first if possible. Now when these adds pop, you have a choice. You can keep getting damage in, now at an increased rate because the defense is down, or you can kill the 3 adds and then go back to focusing on the boss, still with that reduced defense. Now if you do take on the adds, I recommend killing the flies first, as I mentioned before, and in the example you're seeing now, we are using this slower and safer strategy of killing all 3 adds and then going back to the boss. Now right around between 60 and 70% health, additional adds will spawn again. This time it's going to be 2 flies and 2 antlions. Along with this, the defense will also go down substantially again. So once again you face a choice. Kill these adds or continue to get your damage in hopes of killing him before the adds can overwhelm you and your group. If you choose to kill the adds, deal with them in the same way you did before and then get back to getting your damage in. Now at 30 to 40% health, a third and final wave will spawn, this time 2 flies and 3 antlions, and Fibrous' defense will drop to its lowest point yet, and you can normally finish him off with just a few weapon skills from this point. At the same time, lesser geared players will be quickly overrun from those 5 adds that have just spawned and will most of the time not get those weapon skills in time. So you are once again faced with a choice during this third wave of whether or not you want to try and quickly deal with some or all of those adds, or try and drop as many weapon skills as you can on Fibrous to try and finish him off before all of those adds overwhelm you and your back line. Now which of these strategies you use will largely depend on your gearing level. If you are a well-geared player and can deal out a good amount of damage quickly, I suggest you just zerg through all 3 waves of adds, as you're seeing me do in my ninja example, which you'll see right after this battle example. The other option is to kill the first group of adds, but then zerg through the second and third waves, as you see me doing in my Dragoon battle example, which will be after the ninja example that will be next. In this example that you're seeing right now, where I'm using Ambuscade gear and weapons only, and not allowing myself any gear swaps, or add-ins, or plugins, I am using the most conservative strategy of killing all 3 groups of adds, for fear of either being overrun by those adds or being silenced by them. Now this strategy unfortunately does equate to the runs taking 3 times longer or even more this month, but with the risk of the adds, it's the safest bet for returning players. Now trust tanks can often die in that last spawning of adds at around 30 to 40%, so if you have room, bring 2 tanks this month to make it safer. Also keep in mind that Monborough can be very helpful this month if you do happen to get silenced, so use him if you have access to him. That's about all I have to share for this month's run. Enjoy the rest of the Ambuscade gear and weapons example, And again, after this one will be the example of my Ninja, where I just zerged through all 3 waves, and after that, the example of my Dragoon, where I kill the first wave of ads, but then zerg through waves 2 and 3. Enjoy the rest of the runs, and have a great month, everyone.